Hi and welcome to another one of the Tech Geeks videos. All right, we get so many questions asked about Starlink that we thought the best thing to do was to get our own setup, set it up here as an example, show you some of the bits here. Look, this is not meant to be a big technical overview because there are plenty of people out there that know way more than I do and the stuff here about Starlink. We're more interested in showing you the basics and then how you can use what you've got here to extend the Wi-Fi in your property or maybe to another building or even out to your watering holes, your boreholes or anything else like that. So many of you probably have been sent your lovely big Starlink box, maybe not in quite as good condition as that. I know that some people have had these received pretty bashed up and everything. Also, for many of you, you'll know that you don't often receive a new one of these now. Mine was definitely refurbed, it was dirty on the back and everything else, so I just cleaned it up, but it doesn't stop the functionality of it. But what we want to just show you is the key components that you need, firstly to get this set up, and then how to make a few changes so that you can then add on other vendors' equipment. Just a quick overview, what is Starlink? All right, so when I started maybe 25 years ago, we used to do satellite installations, you know, a 2-meter dish, you needed a lining tool, line it up to only 1 or 2 different satellites. You maybe would get 5 or 8 megasecond download speed. You'd need to use your normal modem at 64K to get an upload, just via a normal route, like over the internet in a normal way. Now we have moved to the point where Starlink has thousands of satellites in low orbit around the world, all right, and each one of those can give internet access for a specific area of the planet below it, which is really, really exciting because we can see speeds of hundreds of megasecond from this. They can be used on the top of recreation vehicles. You can be top of your homestead, out on your farm, watching crops, wherever you can think about finding internet connectivity. All right, now a new world has opened up. All right, so your request for your web page or whatever you're going to is going to leave this dish that's going to be lined up to one of the closest satellites. It's going to head up, hit that satellite. That satellite is going to bounce it back down to a ground station. So here in Australia, in each state, there's at least one ground station. That ground station then carries it over normal fiber connections to the rest of its destination. All right, so really what we're doing is we're using the satellite for the shortest amount of time possible. Now, you don't get much in the box. There isn't a need for much. You're going to get your dish, all right, you're going to get your router, all right, and you're going to get essentially some cables, about 29 meters I think it is of cable, all right, and your power cable. That is really all you need. Now, we're not going to help you install this, but what you really want to do is go to the website Installers Near Me, all right, and they have a list of installers across Australia that have got cable certifications. They can mount this up on the right place, pointing in the right direction for you. And if you buy other equipment from us or work with them, we work for many installers across Australia, they can also mount that additional wireless equipment at the same time. So, all right, we've got all this basics here. This is already pointing roughly in a southerly direction. We thought by doing this outside, we could at least deconstruct some of it so you could really see all the different components. So our first thing that we're going to do is obviously connect up our dish to our modem. So this dish needs to have been mounted south facing somewhere on the outside of your property. All right, and from it you're going to have a cable like this. It's going to have come through the wall, down a pole, maybe it's been mounted on your roof. All right, and that's going to get put firstly into the back of our wireless router here. So you'll see in the bottom here there are only 2 connections, all right, power and the connection to the dish. There's no Ethernet or anything like that. This is on the rectangular one that I have. The older circle ones, I believe, did have an Ethernet on the modem that came with it. But later on, we'll talk about what we need to do to extend this so that we can bring this out to an Ethernet port, and then that opens up a whole new world of opportunities for us. So I'm going to plug in now my dish to my router, all right, and I'm going to plug in my mains to the router now as well. All right, so if you've not already downloaded the Starlink app, then I would suggest that you do that ahead and ready to go, because that's where we're going to control all of the features from. So now we're all ready. What we're going to do is we are going to plug this into the mains and let this start up. Now, many people go, my router doesn't work. All right, this sort of looks like it should have some lights showing here, maybe when it's doing something linked with a few satellites, but it literally does nothing. All there is a tiny little white light between these two cables here that shows you that the modem is online. So look for that little white light. That is the only hope you're going to get. So now, what you want to do is you want to find your wireless connection. If you've got this out of the box, refurbed, or new, you may find a wireless connection called Stinky. So you want to connect to that first. You can change that name obviously later on. In my example here, I've already renamed it to Starlink Test. All right, so you want to join that and then start up your Starlink app, and it'll probably show you what it's doing. It maybe show you that it's searching or it's booting, and in a moment this is probably going to start changing location. Here we go. It's now going to start locating the closest satellites. Often find that this takes 4 or 5 minutes to truly get itself the best location. Just to help you understand, this subscription here I have is the RV, so the portable version is deprioritized, so during the daytime we don't get superb speeds, but obviously you can get several hundred megasecond on these depending on your location. So we're going to let that settle. While that's settling, all right, that is really all there is to this. The router isn't too bad, all right, it's just wireless. It will do 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It's only a wireless 5 router, but since you're only going to get about 300 meg tops out of Starlink, and since Wi-Fi 5 will give you over 600, maybe 1,000 megasecond, all right, probably will do you. The problem you have with it is more how to extend it a bit further around your property, so we're going to help you with that. Mine now says that it's online. So I'm just going to jump into the app here and do a speed test. Our first speed test is going to sort of be a combination of our speed to the router and our speed to the dish itself. What I'm really interested later on is going to the advanced settings, because that's just going to check my speed from my phone to the router, and then from the router to the Starlink satellite constellation and back down again. So this has almost run the whole route. We'll just let that finish. I'm now going to click on the bottom and say run advanced test. This is now going to run our advanced test. Sometimes I've seen that this does realign itself. The dish, we're a little bit later now in the afternoon, so the location has probably changed very slightly. All right, there we can see we're getting a pretty good speed on our download, and we can see in a moment when it goes over to that Wi-Fi speed test that we're getting a fairly good connection here to our router as well. So that really is our starting point. All right, we've taken this, we've gone to the installers near me website, and we've got one of those guys to come out, fit this securely, run the cable down. There we go, it's lining itself again. Here we go, properly finding where it, lining itself up. They've lined it up, they've run a cable down from your roof through, and they've put one of these in your property. All right, so what is the next thing that we want to do? Before we get on to all of those bits that we want to be able to do with it, we need to have got ourselves the Ethernet adapter, all right? If you've not already bought this, you need to hop on the Starlink shop and purchase this. It's only about $60, but this is going to go in line, all right? And it's going to allow us to come out to an Ethernet port. That's allow us to take us to a switch and going to give us a whole more open world to the features and options that we can add to this. All right, so what we're going to now do is just going to go in the app, all right, and we are going to move to settings. In settings, we've got some advanced options that we can choose, and in those advanced options there you will see it gives you the ability to put this back into pass-through mode that you can see there. So when we've put this in place, and maybe we've got a brand new router, then we're going to put this into pass-through. You can't do this if you're just going to connect a wireless access point, because this is giving out your wireless connection. So this is the bit that still needs to be in line to make it all work. It's only going to work if you've got another router on here, because currently this is giving out your IP addresses. So once you are ready, you've got your new router in there, maybe it be a Rugi, maybe it be an Asus or a TP-Link, then you can put this in pass-through mode, and this is becoming fairly dumb at this point. It's not giving out IP addresses. If you want to, and you're quite happy just to leave this wireless running for your peace of mind, then you can still put your new router in, all right, just connect it to the Ethernet port on here, and just remember that anything that's plugged into that is still going to be controlled by this router, But the great thing is that it's actually also the IP addresses, but most of it is being run still through your new piece of equipment. But I really would suggest that you do change it and put a different router in. All right, if you're not using this, and some of the common things that people need to do is need to be able to stow this, which means we need to be able to change something. So we're going to do this, so we're going to change the Ethernet cable. So we're just going to hit the word stow. It's going to ask us, do we want to stow it? All right, it's basically going to pack this away ready to be moved. And then we can disconnect it and put in our Ethernet cable. So like I said, we maybe want to, if you want to just keep this router, the router is going to be great for you. But if you want to extend it further, then we need to put our Ethernet adapter in line. So once we put this into stowed mode, we're just going to disconnect our power from here. And we're then going to take out our cable that's come down from our roof or wherever it's been mounted. And this is going to connect into this side of the Ethernet adapter. All right, and this gives us the ability just to extend on. And then we're just going to switch over to the back here and plug this here now into our router. All right, and we should now be able to power everything back up again and give it a few minutes. So now we have the ability to connect this to a network switch. All right, and if we just connect that to a network switch, this router is going to give out all of our IP addresses, and this is going to provide us the wireless. We could put another wireless product on here, and we could allow it to give out IP addresses. All of that's going to be just fine. But what you probably really want to do is plug this into a new router, all right, and build your network from there. Use the app like I've shown you to change this into bypass mode. You're still going to need to leave this on, but it's not going to be actually doing anything. So to use any of the other features we're going to show you shortly about how to extend your Wi-Fi across your property, you really need this Ethernet adapter, and really probably need a router. Unless this is doing well for you, still keep this for wireless in your property, and then you can come out to a switch and allow you to connect this to another building or something like that. You can see it's now realigning itself after we put power back in. All right, but hopefully that gives you a rundown of all the components that you get, how you need to basically put those together ready to use it. But hopefully the key takeaway before you head on to one of the next segments is really you need this adapter, and we're going to show you from there how to set it up in a way that will work to either increase the wireless connectivity in your main property, or how to extend it out to other properties. All right, so I can hear you saying, Paul, come on. I've got my Starlink all set up. I've got my Ethernet adapter connected. I am ready to go. Show me how to extend my Wi-Fi in my house. So today we're going to be looking at how to extend your Wi-Fi in your house using Ubiquiti. There are a number of ways to do this. The key to think about is the start of this is Ubiquiti is designed to have a controller. That's either an app specifically on your phone, software downloaded, or what is called an OS console, which is a UDR, which is a Ubiquiti or Unified Dream Router, or a Dream Machine, or a Dream Machine Pro, or a Dream Machine SE, or maybe even a Cloud Key. The thing with that is it adds additional cost. So doing one single access point is okay. You can use the app and do it in standalone mode, but to allow you to extend more than that, it's probably not the best way to start. So today we're not just going to show you with a single access point. I'm actually going to show you with a UDR, a Unify or Ubiquiti Dream Router. All right, this is a router. It's a wireless 6 access point. It's a 4-port switch. All right, and it's a great starting point to build out our wireless for Starlink. All right, so let's just take this out of the box. Have plenty of other videos on what is actually in the box, but this is the device itself. The access point sits up here. So we see we've got our 4 ports on the back here. 2 of these are PoE, so we can power some other access points. We've got our WAN connection, which is going to connect into our Starlink Ethernet adapter. Like I said, you've got the access point in the top. So this is a great starting point. It's got the controller in this as well, which means that once we've done our initial setup, we don't need to worry about the app or anything else running. It's going to run all nice and neatly in this device itself. Let me reach over and get our first thing here, which is short length of Ethernet cable. This is going to plug from our WAN port here Okay, and it's then going to plug into our Ethernet adapter. Remember, we still need to have our Starlink router on, and towards the end of this setup, you can move this into bypass mode if you want to. You would then reboot this device, and it will then pick up an IP address directly from Starlink, and your Starlink router here will just be providing power to this device. All right, so what else do we need? We need the power cable plugged in, obviously. So let's just do that into the back of the device here. All right, and let's power that up. In a moment, it's going to make a doorbell sound, and that's going to tell us that it's ready for configuration to happen. In the meantime, what you might want to do is download the Unify Network app. So I'm just going to grab that now on my phone. Yours will look slightly different to mine because I do have some other configurations set up in here as well. All right, so while this is starting, you'll actually be able to see on the front here that it has the Ubiquiti logo, and then as it boots, it will show the percentage through the start it has on the front of the device here. It does take 3 or 4 minutes to actually get itself properly started up, and in a moment we'll hopefully hear that it is ready to get going. I have the app already running on my phone, so once it's here, hopefully we will be able to see this pop up and tell me that it has a device ready to configure. I'm still waiting for that to boot. In a moment it will make a sound to tell us that it is ready to be configured, and in fact here now on my phone I have the new console found, and I have the option to set this up. There is a couple of key things that we're going to work through as we start setting this up. It will ask us to set up the basics in here, so we're just going to leave the defaults here. The name Dream Router, you can set that up to whatever you want to be. Wi-Fi, we're going to call it as Unify. You can put in whatever you would like this to be. I'm just going to put this in as test. All right, test. There we go, so we can actually see what's happened. I'm not bothered about sending any analytics. We're going to choose next. Now it's going to just do a speed test, get us an idea of what it can get from the Starlink so that it can set some of the rest of its configuration up. Doorbell sound now telling us that it's ready to be configured, although the app, we're already on this and working. So now it's got its speed test results. It's happy to configure this. It would like us to join this to its Unify account. So if you have already got a Unify account, then please do sign in and follow this step. You can go to, I think it is accounts.ui.com, and create yourself your own account. I'll probably use one in a moment to log in ourselves. So at the moment it wants to update its firmware. I suggest that you probably do that. So we're going to let this follow through. I think firstly it is checking whether there is a firmware update. Just for speed, we will probably skip this, but I would suggest that if it allows you to, do go on through and do that. So I'm going to skip here the firmware update. All right, and now it's ready for me to join the wireless. Now we're going to need to make one more change in this. So let's go on and join the wireless. So now we join the Ubiquiti wireless, we can proceed to do a little bit of extra connecting. So we're just going to proceed to join our router that we've actually set up, and now we should be able to work on some of the final pieces of the configuration. Okay, so we can see that it's allowed us to connect to it. Now we can go to settings, which is probably one of the most important places that I want to go to next, and networks. The problem that we have is that our Starlink router is giving out an IP address range of 192.168.1. To the WAN side of this router, and on the LAN we're going to be picking up a similar IP range, which we want to move it out of that to make sure there is no issue. Now I want to just check, and our actual device has already changed that. We can see that it's changed it to 192.168.0, so we don't actually have a conflict between these two. So we now actually have a Wi-Fi connection. We are joined using Wi-Fi to our UDM, so our UDR. So we're already now connected, and we are actually got Wi-Fi running through our Starlink. So if we wanted to, we could go and turn the Starlink into bypass. So to do that, we'd go to our Starlink app. we're going to need to move away from our UDR's Wi-Fi, and we're going to need to join the other Wi-Fi there of Starlink. So you're going to need to go into your settings and into Wi-Fi. All right, and you should see mine's called Starlink Test. Yours may still be called Stinky or whatever it was originally set up as. All right, and then we can actually come back to our Starlink app. So you're going to go into settings, and then you can see your option here that says advanced. All right, and you can see that you can bypass Starlink Wi-Fi router. So if we were to turn this into now, if we're now to do this and save this, this will stop operating. Still needs to have power because at the moment it's powering your dish here, but now this will be controlling the rest of your network. So that's probably a good point to do. The dish will send out the IP address to the WAN side of your UDR, and then your UDR will control the rest of your network. That really now is a point that everything is working for you. If we go back and join our wireless network for our UDR, which I think we just called here Unify. All right, we can go back, and using the app we can make changes to the ID that we have. We can connect to the device directly here. Here's our device that we can see. We can make changes to the way that the wireless works and everything else that we want to. We can see any active devices. You can see my iPhone is already joined on the bottom there, and we can do basic configuration with this. So that's stage one. You now have a router. All right, you have the console set up in here. There's lots more settings you can go in and set up, but I just wanted to show you how to get wireless and get a router connected to Starlink. What we're going to do now is we're now going to add an extra access point. Maybe this is going to do part of your house, but we're going to suggest that these probably go every 10 meters or so. So you're going to use this as your base, and then you're going to run an Ethernet cable out to another access point in about 10 meters time and put another access point, and that's going to give you an increased wireless connection. So let's have a look and see how we would actually do that. Extending our Wi-Fi coverage on more than just our router, which is going to give us good coverage maybe for 10 meters or so, depending on the walls and the makeup of your property. We're going to need a Ethernet cable. You're going to run this out from the back of this router to the point where you're going to place an access point. So you're going to need an access point as well. Now, there are ways of doing this where you don't have to have a cable run between the two. I'm not going to cover that here. There's a feature in Ubiquiti called wireless uplink. You can follow the process that we do now with a cable. You can then disconnect the cable. It will go into an isolated mode, and you can tell it you just need a short length of cable with a PoE injector. Once it's in isolated mode, then you can tell it, go into the wireless uplink options and tell it to link to your router, and it will repeat the signal. Now you will have a performance degradation of probably about half the speed, but because these all run faster than your Starlink, you probably won't notice much difference. So let me just show you how we're going to connect all of this together. So one end of our Ethernet cable is going to simply plug into one of our two PoE ports, which are at the bottom, power over Ethernet. This is going to mix our power and data here. All right, and then we're going to take our other end and we're going to plug it here into our Ethernet port on our access point. There are a number of different access points. Today we're using a U6 Pro, so a wireless 6 access point. The U6 Pro, fantastic speed, performance and coverage, probably about 6 times faster than your Starlink, so you may not need to go for wireless 6, but it's a good starting point. So we will then find that this will actually start to power up. It's going to be very difficult in the light to see, but we'll see actually a light starting to flash around here, and it's probably a good opportunity to grab our phone and go back into our app. So we want to have joined again the Wi-Fi of our router, and you can see here it has now already found this device and it wants to add it. All right, and it can still see at the moment the device is booting. Once this is finished booting, we're going to be able to do an option called adopt. Adopt will basically take this access point and join it to the config that's already on here. There won't be anything else for us to do. This will start broadcasting the SSID that's already on here. All right, and if this was down the other end of your property, wireless would now be starting to be distributed in that location as well. So it is almost booted. All right, and hopefully in a moment we will be able to add it to the Dream Router's setup. So we'll wait till it has finished its full boot sequence. If you do have something like this and it seems to be stuck on booting, I'm just going to close this. We can click our item at the bottom and you can see what appears here. It says that it is waiting adoption. So we can see our Dream Router, and if you'd added a number of these, you would see all of these here. So we're just going to click on the option here to adopt the device. The device is now going to join our wireless router, and it's going to pick up the config. It will go through several stages. It will go through probably a couple of restarts. It will update its firmware and it will pick up the configuration. When it's finished, it shall go to green, all right, and we'll know it's fully added to this setup. So we'll give it a couple of minutes while it runs through, and hopefully then that will be everything in this setup done, and you will have seen how to extend the Wi-Fi first using a UDR, Unified Dream Router, and then adding an additional access point. You've got 4 ports on here, so you could add another access point and you could add a switch or something else as well, and extend even further. So you can now see that it's actually gone green. This device is fully connected to the whole setup. It's been adopted. It now has the wireless config settings and it is actually ready to go. So if I'd run that out, I would have wireless now at the other portion of my property. So hopefully that's been useful. There's not really a lot if you do it this way around. This is why I wanted to show you using the UDR. You could use the UDM, the Unified Dream Machine, or if you wanted a rack mount device and weren't going to add an extra wireless access points, then you could use the UDM Pro or the UDM SE. So hopefully that's been a very good, quick, simple roundup. Get the UDR, maybe a second or third access point. There are outside access point options as well, the U6 mesh or the AC mesh. Put the Starlink router into pass-through mode once you've set it all up, and now you've extended wireless through your property. Look at one of our other videos. We'll show you how to take this and then maybe with this setup move it to another building as well. So not only have you got Wi-Fi extended with inside your house and outside, you can now take it to your granny flat or your shed or something like that. So hopefully that's been useful.